In this video, I'm going to be going over the new two-player starter set that Corvus Belli is releasing for their game Warcrow called Song of the Dormant, which they sent to me very graciously, and I was wonderfully surprised when it showed up on my doorstep. So we're going to go through the box, look through all its different contents, and then I'll kind of give you, kind of my thoughts on it. But if you're not familiar with Warcrow at all, it's kind of not really a scrimmage, not really a war game. And the factions in here are going to be the Feudum, which is kind of like your classic medieval knights. And then there's also the Scions of Yaldabaoth, which are going to be kind of like your fleshcraft, not necessarily fully necromancy, but fleshcraft, dark elf things. Both model sets, both factions are really, really cool. I'm going to stop talking. Let's jump into this video. One caveat, the audio is going to be a little weird when I do the unboxing. I'm working through it, but just keep that in mind as the video continues. So let's get started. All right, so here is the box. I will say I think the box is actually less glossy than the Winds from the North box. That's something when shooting video, it's not going to be as glary. But here's the back of the box. Really nice scenic picture of the Scions fighting the Feudum. Tells you all the stuff you need to know. But let's actually look in the box. So if we open it, little glue seal here. We get. Let me put the box somewhere nice. It's a nice piece of artwork. We get this pack here, and I think it'll be easier if we look at it like this. So all the minis are here. Here is the high command for the Scions, and I will show you the minis, but I'm going to do it a little differently this time. I'm going to do it. Let me get this out. I'm going to do it after I assemble all of them, rather than just going through piece by piece to make this quicker. So we have our cards here, and I'm pretty sure. Let's see, what do we get? We get one. You get 4 Feudum cards, and then you get 5 Scion cards. One of the Scion cards, which is the Master Uruk card, and the Progenitor. These are Master Uruk is the named hero. Progenitor Sculptor is the generic hero. And if you got the card pack way back, around Adepticon time, 2025 Adepticon, there was like a little Progenitor guy. I think I actually have the box. Yeah, let me see. I have the box. Yeah, you got this guy, this little Progenitor guy. So anyway, what's interesting though is many of these cards have changed. So it was really kind of a quick grab to get the cards. And a really cool Progenitor model. But these are the characters. These are the cards. All the cards are in here. There's a Spanish and English side. Dice. My collection of Warcrow dice grows. Bases for the minis. But here's Uruk, and he is actually in the Unicool. And there's a few models that are in the Unicool plastic resin. I don't fully know what it is, although when I painted the Warg Riders, it looked a little bit like 3D printed, like I could see layer lines. So I don't know exactly what this material is. Here's Varana. So these are the 2 high commands. Whoop. They're both in Unicool. And then Morgan or Morgan, the Inquisitor, she is in Unicool. And then, is there anybody else? Yes, the Breath, which is the Scions character. So 2 characters from each faction are in the Unicool, which is nice. I really like the material. It's a dream to work with. Oh, I lied. The Needle, it looks like. Yeah, the Needle character is also in Unicool. So now I have 4 Needles because there are 3 of them in the Warcrow Adventures box. So my plan with painting the Scions is I'm going to paint, so here's the Needle, for example. Because I have this Needle, I'm just going to paint all the Needles, this one, and then the Warcrow Adventures models at the same time. So I'm painting all the same thing. But these are models. We'll come back to them once I'm done going through everything else in this box. And so here we have the Song of the Dormant book. It's the introductory book. If you got Winds from the North, it's going to be very similar to that. It's kind of one of my first times looking at this. So we have, just what Warcrow is, or the state of the world. Looks like it's telling us a little bit of feudum. It only gives you the info on the characters in this adventure. Scions, same thing, I bet. Yep, here it is. Here's a picture of the whole little gang of people. How to play. Oh, this is, I can't remember if Winds from the North did this, but this is basically telling you what each character kind of does, or their function, the battlefield, all the basic rules. I would highly suggest getting the rule book because it comes with like 300 pages of lore. I've read it like twice. It's so interesting every time I go back. I always go back when releases come out to read through things, or when I'm making terrain. It does give you some new stuff that's not in the rulebook. So tinge abilities, these are new, or have been introduced. So I believe Scion characters have tinge abilities now. I would suggest take a look. And this is going to be the narrative campaign. So you have, what's happening in this part of the world. It looks like we're on the island of Asil. Scenario 1, prepping it. All the different scenarios. Scenario 2, if you're going to want to look at it, I would say buy the thing. It tells you like what models you need for each scenario, prep, events, different things. This is nice. I can't remember if Winds from the North. When I played Winds from the North, my buddy and I had some confusion. Also, we nuked each other's mages right off the bat, and scenario 3 relied on mages. Your victory, and then your campaign log you can fill in. I don't like touching stuff up, or marking stuff up. So I scanned this and I just printed a version of this so I could just consistently keep using it. And a nice reference sheet, and then some a shameless plug for Infinity and their latest box with Infinity, I believe. So that's the introductory booklet. And then we have the Asil terrain. So let me get one of my cutting tools here. Hope I don't cut anything. All right. So this looks like we're going to get a lot of more castle ruins and stuff. Borderlands, it says. This mat is really nice. I want to commission a company like Mats by Mars to make me, or to ask them if they can make one of their normal maps, but then do a fog. Or Corvus Belli, if you're watching this, you guys should make some maps that you could sell to people. And one of them should be fog. But this is a really cool map. It looks swampy-esque. So there's a river down here. It's a big map. Sorry. It's like there's a river and a bridge. I'm also kind of looking into this because I want to know what terrain to kind of make for this world. So, all right, interesting. So, some assembly instructions. It looks like we have some of the terrain. Oh, that's interesting. It's you can see it. It's briars and stuff. Oh, that's horrifying. It's just a bunch of skulls. Oh, well, it's kind of fun. Once again, and more tokens. Tons of tokens. Pop that back in there. There we go. Ruins, it looks like. More ruins. Something popped out. Oh, okay. These are the things for the movement tracker. Another movement tracker for me. I got a really nice 3D printed one, multicolored 3D printed one at Adepticon, so I like to just give the other ones out. Those will be good for when I run tournaments in my local area. Is this a mine? That's pretty cool. Definitely going to build something with that. Ooh. We're getting a lot more arcane magic stuff. Crypts and whatever that is. And then, of course, our other tokens and movement tools. I can't tell if it's a different, if it looks a little different. Like, maybe it's more like they did the art slightly different. Not the art, but like the coloring. I feel like it is, but I don't know. You stare at this stuff long enough. Wounds, tinge, all that fun stuff. More assembly instructions. So what I will do is I will assemble the models and the terrain, and then we will come back and take a look at those, and then I'll be done with this video. All right, so I built all of the terrain. Fairly easy, it's nice, simple terrain. I like 3D terrain. This is kind of a nice in between of 2D and 3D terrain. Went together fairly quickly. These don't have exact names. When I looked, it just said like terrain feature templates. I bet the narrative campaign tells you what these are. They're all double-sided. This one's kind of really interesting. It's just bones. These are just pop out. Everything else, there's, like I showed earlier, very simple instructions. There's some walls that you can combine to make like bigger walls. Here's the other ones, some shorter walls that once again combine. There we go. And then two, I think they called them chapel ruins. There's no doors, so I don't know how they're going to get into the chapel. But there are two ruined like wall sections. And then let me put these off to the side here. And then it's a tower. Once again, no door though, so I think they're going to be having a hard time getting inside. But yeah, very nice. And speaking of size, here we can see how big they are next to the models. So let's talk a little bit about the models. We will do the Feudum first, since they're my favorite faction in Warcrow, right? Currently, so there were two not Siocast, Unicool models, and it was Verkana and Morgan, I think her name is, whatever, the Inquisitor. This is probably one of my new favorite poses in all of Warcrow. I just really like how epic it looks. Unicool models, very easy to build. I built both of these in like 5-ish to 10 minutes. All of the models took me like an hour and a half. But here is actually, even though I know all the characters' names, I'm forgetting their names as I film this. So we have Verkana here. I apologize about the zoom. It auto zooms. We have the Knight of the Sacred Relic. He was fairly easy to make. Just Siocast is you have to approach Siocast a little differently. I found that Siocast sometimes has a hard time, like there'll be pegs that they can fit into. Sometimes they're not fit to the peg, so you have to like shave it off and stuff. You'll build it and you'll see, and you'll figure out what works for you. Here's Morgan of Jaffair. Very cool model. And then we have all of our, what is it? Bullhooks, Gusamiers. The basic line troops. I'll figure out how to pronounce it eventually, but fairly easy. Once again, easy on where the pieces go. But there are some challenges. If you notice, this guy, like this hand is off because like the spear wasn't long enough. And it's very possible I built it wrong, but these I actually didn't have to shave the pegs off, so it slotted in. So I don't know why that was the case. But overall, not too difficult to make. And so you can have 3 of those guys once they come out. And then we have the Scions. Let me very quickly grab. So this is an intact from Warcrow Adventures, and then here we have an intact from from this box. And so they're very similar in size. We have kind of two male intacts. This one has the leader, I'm assuming, because he's got the symbol on his back. And then we have the two female intacts. See this little super glue. There were definitely some challenges here with these guys. Some of the head pieces didn't necessarily fit the best. And once again, it's not the modeling that's bad that I had that I struggled with. It was like those the pegs and stuff that the models fit into. The Siocast like was warped. So like a hole, like let's say it's a square hole, and it's supposed to the square peg is supposed to fit in the square hole. The hole is now like a smaller circle shape. So it's like you have to shave it off and stuff. But they're basic line troops, and you're looking at them from the top down, so not too bad. Here is the needle. There's 3 of these in Warcrow Adventures, and I think the expansion box. One thing to know: the legs here and this rope, the thread, they like I had a hard time, which was strange for Unicool, but I had a hard time getting these two to fit. If you put the legs in first, you're not going to get this rope in. But if you put the rope in first, the thread, you're going to have a hard time. At least I had a hard time getting the legs in. So I had to cut some stuff that's hidden now. But overall, very beautiful model. Love this model. It's just really cool, creepy. The breath is probably one of my favorite models on the Siocast side, just because of how elegant it looks. Very nice, very smooth model. It'd be very, very cool to make. And then our last one is Master Uruk, who is big, 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 big. So here is for Kana. You can see he's fairly large. I think he's probably the largest 20 millimeter base model that Warcrow has right now. Because like the big orc, the Revenant, he's chunky, but he's not big like this. So this guy's crazy, and his rules are really cool too. So here's a knight. Oh, here's a Knight of the Relic. So you can see like this is a big guy. So it's a very, very, very cool model. And he's got 4 arms, all that cool stuff. So these are all the models from Song of the Dormant. And we'll just quickly wrap this video up. Some final thoughts, and you can get on with the rest of whatever you're doing for the day. All right, so that's everything in the box. I'm very, very excited about it. I've been playing the Northern Tribes, the Orcs, the Varank, long enough. I love them because I started the game with them, but I have been waiting for Feudum, and I'm just so getting ready to start with these guys. I love the mini Siocast. As I mentioned before, it can be a little challenging to work with. I actually cut my finger kind of pretty good working with some of it, but that's just myself and safety, disregard for safety. Overall, though, the models are really, really cool. The first narrative campaign, Winds from the North, that narrative box set was really, really fun. I loved playing through those 3 different games with my good friend, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm looking now at my Feudum models, which I'm currently working on. They have been really, really fun to paint. If you're interested in what those models look like when they're fully painted, feel free to follow me on Instagram. And if you want to see any of the other stuff that I'm working on here, whether it's Warcrow or general hobby or maybe some other war games that I could potentially get invested in, feel free to like and subscribe on this channel. I try to do a lot of terrain videos and updates about different games such as Warcrow. And I'm just kind of trying to see where this channel is going, but it's fully focused on wargaming. And we'll see if anything interesting happens at Gen Con this year. But without further ado, I'll let you get back to whatever you're doing. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.